Hi everybody, welcome to my next video blog. Today we're talking about first aid kits. Okay, now in the home, your first aid kit in some ways doesn't really matter, in that you can have whatever you want in it. 50 plasters, 4 bandages, a heat pack, whatever you wish. Doesn't really matter, whatever you feel is appropriate for your family. Okay, however in the workplace, very, very different. Alright, some of you may have heard of the Health and Safety at Work Act, and in there is a section that states, and I shall read, an employer shall provide or ensure that there are provided such equipment and facilities as are adequate and appropriate in the circumstances for enabling first aid to be rendered to his employees if they are injured or become ill at work. So that's what it actually says. That's the quote from within Health and Safety at Work Act. Alright, so within that, it's basically saying that every employer should provide a first aid kit in their place of work. Okay, so that if anybody falls ill or anybody has an injury, there is a first aid kit there that can be used. Alright, so, well, what about our first aid kits? Well, before, you used to get for what they used to call 1 man, 10 man, 20 man, 50 man, etc. first aid kits. And there was a whole different range. There was like a Burns first aid kit, a kitchen first aid kit, a normal first aid kit, a paediatric first aid kit. The list was endless. There was lots and lots and lots. Okay, but because there were so many, it was getting confusing for everybody. So what they did is the HSE, which is the Health and Safety Executive, then decided what we'll do is we'll get all the first aid kits together, choose what we feel is the most important things out of everything and merge that into one first aid kit. Okay, now this happened as of June 2011. They then had a transitional period for which everybody to update their first aid kits at work, which took until December 2011. So as of 2012, the new first aid kit became law, and it has this number here, BS8599-1. Alright, the BS means British Standard. Okay, so your first aid kit at work has to be compliant with this number. Okay, now you can go out and buy a brand new first aid kit which will have that number on it and it will be compliant already, or if you've got an old style first aid kit, you don't necessarily have to go out and buy a new one. Just Google this number and that will give you a whole list of contents that should be in that new first aid kit, and then you can just add to your old first aid kit so it then becomes compliant with that new number. Okay, also a thing to remember is everything in that first aid kit has an expiry date. So bandages, plasters, anything that's in there has an expiry date, and these should be checked regularly. Why do they have an expiry date? Well, because the plastic and that's surrounding them that at present to keep them sterile over time does degrade, and as it degrades it then is no longer sterile. And what you don't want is to come to an incident one day, open up your first aid kit and find everything is years out of date, which I have seen around places that I've been training, and it's no longer sterile. Would you want somebody to put a dirty non-sterile bandage on your open wound? Probably not. Okay, so make sure it's up to date, it's fully stocked, because again I've seen certain companies open up their first aid kit and there's literally 2 bandages in there and that's it. Okay, because through the months people have been coming in and taking bits out of there but never thought to restock it. So it has to be restocked constantly check the expiry dates of everything to make sure it's ready for when you need it most. Alright, so check that list online. Okay, that will give you the up-to-date contacts of this number. Alright, just Google that number in, it'll give it all what should be in there. Okay, and then just buy whatever you're missing. Alright, so that's just a little one about our first aid kits. Alright, so I hope you've enjoyed it and found it informative. Speak to you soon. Bye!